Hey, there we go. Good morning, folks. Got started just a few seconds late, waiting for the analytics in streaming software for a change, as opposed to all of my prep. So good times. Hopefully, everybody had a great one. It's going to be a lovely, fun day with FOMC and so forth. And so this is prep for May 3rd, 2023. As a reminder, I think I've skipped these a couple of times. We are not financial analyst advisors, nothing of the sort. Nothing we say or do should be taken as any kind or construed as any kind of buy or sell recommendation. All kinds of futures and ETFs and stocks contain risks. Sorry, something caught my eye outside the door. So please make sure you know what you're doing. Go follow the disclosures. Make sure you know what you're doing before you place any kind of a trade. And do not, we repeat, we are not financial analysts or advisors. With that, we will jump right in. As I mentioned, really big day here. You got ADP here in the morning, got S&P Global Composite, Global Services, ISM. Big one is in this afternoon with FOMC. And if anything, if yesterday was any kind of a prelude, I mean, this should be a really good day here with lots of back and forth. Always remember, folks, keep in mind that the first move is typically, not always, the first move is typically a trap within the first 15-20 minutes. And then a lot of times we'll see some additional stuff with Chair Powell speaking as well. So all stuff to keep in mind with all this stuff going on here this morning for FOMC. Turn down the radio just a touch more. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get started into SVXY. I'm going to leave it there on the screen for 1 second and close the door while people start stirring around the location here. All right, so SVXY, pretty clean levels on it for today. Not a whole lot that we're gonna have to add commentary on it for. And I'm just gonna double check. So 6808, so pretty much unchanged from where we did the prep last night on it. We'll note that we added a zone slash structure WTGR1 there at the highs yesterday. Excuse me, at the highs from Monday there. Beneath that, you've got your photo ADRs, gap fill, daily trend guide, and then further below, you've got another gap fill with quarterly trend guide reversal. Underneath, there's a nice little swing anchor VWAP there from May 1st to 10:30, as well as your weekly pivot and trend strength reference points. Can't really care about that or even the monthly pivot point. I think I might actually start changing the shading on the prep so that things that are within yesterday's range get marked as orange. And so I put MPP as an orange denotation there. The one below that, though, while it is within the range yesterday, it is getting towards the bottom side, but more importantly, it's got a lot of pieces of evidence there with the daily trend guide reversal, AR1, weekly trend guide, and it is also the tier 1 daily cheat. Also of note, we have the daily anchor VWAP right coming into that zone. So you got the 20-day between MPP in that zone, and you have a daily anchor VWAP, which sets up for the look. Again, for those who don't remember or they may have missed other ones, the look is when you get the combination of daily anchor VWAP with the 20-day or daily anchor VWAP with the 50-day EMA, and you tend to get pretty good sized reactions off of those. Last up on the list, you could include and draw this up to include the other gap fill there at 6550. I did not. It kind of feels like folks would forget about the one going back to April 12th there. And so noted the piece down below and also expanded it to pick up full ADRs. So you got 50-day EMA in there, full ADRs, monthly trend guide, and gap fill. And so yeah, that is SVXY. Moving on to VIX. VIX again had problems with its 50-day. Also wanted to zoom out here to show, like, do we get this? I highly doubt it. But I did note the ABCD pattern there on VIX, which would put it, and I mentioned this yesterday, that would put it all the way down to like February 2020 VIX lows of the 13. So, you know, maybe they do something surprising and VIX collapses further. I mean, it's just, you know, everybody gets excited. They think, oh, here it comes. Here, all the bulls are going to die, and then we just keep spike, fade, spike, fade. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting here. So I'll go ahead and zoom in as we look at these. So above, you got your 200-day simple moving average with your weekly trend guide 3 and quarterly pivot. Underneath, we're going to end up with our full ADRs. It's roughly, the VIX is roughly at the same spot, so the full ADRs are going to be in the same level there. And underneath, I've actually, and I didn't even note this one here, like I don't care about this. Like, sure, it was April highs, and there's a kind of mini supply and demand there, but like, we come up here, you know, yeah, sure, 20 has been the psychological level. You can see there is some structure, but I'd much rather kind of wait and see what we get up at here. Maybe that corresponds with the bigger level 2 that we have on ES or NQ. Under, we do have our photo ADRs as well as the daily trend guide reversal, and it's the top edge of supply and demand. You can also see there's definitely been a lot of interaction here over the last week or two. Again, this is kind of a tough one. Like, you get the 50-day supply and demand right there, but like we've been shooting through the 50-day and then rejecting it. So, you know, this could be the case where you shoot back through the 50-day, go up and close the photo ADRs to then fade back. Do we do it? I have no idea. Just it's something to note. It's kind of why I did markets, so you can start to get ready if you put these on your charts and whatnot. Under, we've got the monthly trend guide there, and weekly trend guide with top edge supply and demand. Middle, it's trend strength with 20-day. With our MPP weekly pivots and structure there at that 1736 level, and then lower our daily trend guide photo ADRs. You can see here, like the monthly trend guide, weekly trend guide, like, you know, it's there, but like there's way too many over-unders in kind of this area. Like, just look at this in the last few weeks, right? Pop up, pop down, pop up, pop down. Same thing yesterday. Up, down, oh, like just, so why note it? Same thing with this one here, the monthly pivot, weekly pivot, like it's there, but like look at how this is just like over, under, so they're there, but I don't care as much about it. They're just way too inside with everything else there. So really be watching more for the daily trend guide photo or these bigger zones down here below, especially this one at 1439. Each monthly and weekly trend guide reversal ones, as well as the full ADRs are down here at this spot. Given what we had yesterday, $3 yesterday, and if I remember, kind of the expected move stuff is pretty elevated. I mean, you can see the tier 1 is all the way down here at 15 something, and above at almost 21. So moving on to SPY. So added a zone up here at the highs, and did that because we've started getting into some elevated ADRs, but also because, well, today is FOMC. And so you never know what kind of reactions. It's better to be prepared and not have the zones hit, or versus having it come up and spike on you and not having any clue or ideas to where or what things are set up for. So in that spirit, you know, added this one up here, weekly full ADRs, monthly and weekly trend guide reversal ones, structure, gap fill. You also have the supply and demand in there as well. In between those two, you've got your full ADRs. Right now, SPY is actually up from where we captured this. So we captured this yesterday at 410. SPY is getting close to 412. So it's getting close to this zone here we'll get to in a second. So that will put full ADRs probably up here, or start moving them up if we stay kind of keep moving up this way. Anyhow, underneath, you could have combined these into one zone. I chose to separate them. Potentially if we saw a lower high, this is kind of where we had that big failure piece. We opened and just immediately failed. So do we come up and not even get that high and reject back down? So that's why I chose to split them apart. You do have the gap fill at this one, upper edge supply demand, but this right here, the trend guide reversal, trend guide is, that's why I marked it that way. Interesting to note too, like I said, it did add the point of control stuff, and it's my twist on the point of control. Still following all the same pieces, but I'm rolling up and aggregating and normalizing the point of control from a 3-year, 20-day, rolling 20-day, rolling 10-day, last week into the point of control stuff here. And so pretty interesting to see how that's playing out. Need to keep digging into it. I took some pictures and posted those on our Twitter account under Midnight Brands if you want to take a look. They were from last weekend, actually 2 weekends ago when I did that and coded that up. In any event, moving down below, you've got your monthly and weekly trend guide ones, as well as trend guide reversal. In there, we also have a combo high volume node, and we have our tier 2 daily cheat, as well as the tier 1 end of week cheat, which was very interesting to see yesterday as well, exactly where it stopped. It stopped right on that monthly weekly trend guide and that end of week cheat. So it gives us kind of a nice 3-piece evidence there on that one. It also has the daily anchored VWAP down there too from March 24th. So it ends up being 4 pieces of evidence at that big zone there. And I guess, yeah, there's some structure there too at 408. So there may even more pieces. Moving along, photo ADRs was up there. I didn't care about them as much as I did this spot here with the weekly full, the tier 3 daily cheat, top edge supply and demand, 50-day, just a bunch of things right there at that 405, 50-ish level. And then underneath you have combo high volume node, gap fill, 2 of them. Horizontal raise structures, full ADRs, annual pivot point, etc. in that kind of block. And then we added these 2 zones. Again, if we decide to really get moving, 10-ish points. So quarterly pivot, gap fill, or further dipping below and kind of going back to where we had this gap here, this range gap on the 29th and 30th of March. So monthly trend guide, weekly trend guide 2, structure, and the tier 2 end of week cheats. Moving on to the cues, so starting off again, added a zone at the highs to pick up the weekly photo, monthly trend guide. You could have dragged that up to also include supply and demand. It felt if we're going to keep going that far, then we got other things and we're going to need to reassess. Not to mention, if we start getting up there and it looks like we're going to stay super strong, then you've got some time to go and check out and see what else is above. Under, you get a really simple one with your full ADRs, etc. And let's check in that. So it is at Qs are at 320.30, let's call it. So they're actually right at this trend strength reference point zone here. And so that'll push up those ADRs a bit more. It's almost looking like we're going to go up and attack trend guides on SPY, Q, indices, etc. here from glancing at stuff. Kind of makes me sick for not taking out a position last night. But anywho, that is all right. Moving down here below, so you've got in the kind of vicinity of where we stalled out yesterday and put in our kind of V. Maybe it ends up being a W, we'll see. But you have your April 25th swing anchor VWAP. That's a monthly and weekly pivot point, combo high volume node. And as I said, supply swing and daily anchor VWAP from April 25th is right there at that 318 level there. Under is trend guide reversal, which we expanded, includes 20-day EMA. And then next up below, we expanded this to include the supply demand low, monthly trend guide, weekly trend guide, as well as the tier 1 end of week cheat, and the weekly photos are in there as well. And then we added these two zones down here, so you got your gap fill, high volume node, day and swing anchor VWAP right in the same area, as well as your weekly full ADR structure. And then under, you've got your zone, gap fill with tier 2 daily cheat, 50-day EMA, supply and demand high. So this would be an interesting one here at that 310-ish level. It would mean that we've dipped below and taken out this this swing anchor daily VWAP, but who knows, depending upon what and how we do things, like this 50-day could come up to join. And again, it sets up for an even stronger the look view. Some, ooh. Hey, where are we going here? Where's my ES? All right, there we go. That's better. Alright, so there's ES. So again, added a couple of zones, or expanded some pieces, I should say. And in general, I'd actually say I'm pretty happy the algo picked up a bunch of things that I would have manually have added. So way up at the highs, you got your weekly trend guide reversal 2, tier 1 end of week cheat, and I adjusted to include monthly trend guide reversal 2. And note that there is a sneaky, you look up here, there's a sneaky NVPOC right up there, right above monthly trend guide reversal 2. And then there's naked VA if you pay attention to those things. I do. I tend to see the older ones, some reversals on those spots there. Moving below, it's really a lot of open space. You know, if we break out this, 4217, 4220-ish level, there's a ton of open space up until this 4260 spot. So it's a bit wider of a zone here with your monthly and weekly trend guide reversal 1s, your gap fill, weekly full ADRs right there, which keep in mind the weekly fulls have been nothing of late. I mean, because we just haven't had a whole lot of range. So in any event, expanded that to include all those pieces, but dragged it up so that it caught the 4217. It did not, I'm just kind of ignoring the 4218, 4217. Like, I would treat this kind of area here more as a div. So if we do come back up and try to tag the 4218, which we hit back in February, and we dick for tick here just the other day, like, go skip past that and get everybody thinking we're going way up here, and then reverse it at, say, full ADRs, or reverse it just a little bit higher there. Okay, so this one here, photo ADRs, combo high volume node, I did not include, so yeah. So this one is just set a lower high potentially here. If we come up here, go tag that, close off the photo, naked VA, etc., and then reverse back. It also then close all this gap fill and VPOC stuff here, which is pretty fresh. Not a whole lot of significance in my mind. I mean, yes, they're there, but they carry less weight to me than something that's been around for, a few weeks or longer. There you go. I'll zoom back in there. What does that look like on YouTube when it's zoomed in? Yeah, okay. Okay, so moving below, we've got our trend guide, tier 1 daily cheat combo. Like, there's not a whole lot there. You could watch for it to div into the 4180-ish level. Didn't really feel like it was that big of a deal to me, especially with how we kind of set up and failed everything yesterday. Just go hit this and then fail off of that. Again, it kind of feels like the way we're going right now, we're pushing towards the upper edge of this trend strength reference point, monthly and weekly pivot point zone. And you can see I've combined and moved this lower so that it's just kind of this block of information there. The combo point of control has just been over and undered so many times that it's there. I didn't want to include it. But it's kind of looking and feeling like things are going to get a push up into trend guide for the open. Have to make sure you don't get too biased and start trying to short too early. But it does look like we're going to try to go up there. So it could be potentially a bear trap of getting everybody to short at trend guide, expecting to be lower into FOMC. But we shall see. Under, you get the 4120-ish blocks. You got a low daily anchor VWAP, combo high volume node there. You also have your tier 1 end of week cheat. And again, that swing anchor VWAP is moved up just a little bit there. Lower though, we get a nice big fat zone. So you get your monthly, weekly trend guide ones, supply and demand, daily trend guide reversal, and we have our tier 1 daily cheat or expected move. So that one is actually really interesting, seeing kind of where those two lined up today. We don't normally see them like that. Normally see it kind of above the TG and whatnot, but that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Would really love to see it, like I said, come up into this block here and then fade back and then spike up, but we'll have to wait and see. Under, we've got a nice one here with photo ADRs, weekly full. You have a swing anchored VWAP from March 15th at 8 a.m. There's also a gap fill there from just a few weeks, or just from the other week. Not a lot else. Bigger zone here, and we combine these actually into combining some different pieces out of them. So full ADR, supply and demand, annual and quarterly pivots with our low daily anchor VWAP. Gap fill in there, and it's also the tier 2 daily cheat. And then lastly on the list, and this would be a pretty major give back for everything there, would be all the way down here at our monthly and weekly trend guide 2, lower edge of a weekly anchor VWAP from December. So that would take us all the way back to this stuff here. So this would be the low, the weekly anchored VWAP, and would put us, yeah, I mean, right here, this 40-20-ish level, so 200-day, not too far below. So, yep. Anywho, moving on to NQ. Going to try to get through these. Probably skip over RTY and YM a little bit. Above, added this big zone up here. So you've got your NV POC in here, weekly full, tier 1 end of week cheat, and so you've got kind of a really big, thick zone here in our minds. And the 13,650, now you're starting to get back up into these August highs back over here. Underneath, really kind of open space. You could have dragged up and included the NV POC right there at the 13,520-ish level, which probably puts us at these highs and kind of this fail here that start us back in that August setup. In my mind, you're going to be watching if we get up here anyways, and so yeah, I mean, I guess you could have actually taken this and moved it up and gone from monthly trend guide reversal to the top edge supply and demand there. I chose to mark it kind of there. We'll see what and how things play out. Under, kind of a weak div in my mind, with full and photo ADRs. You would be punching out some of this double top high just about over here from last week and this week. And then obviously there's some structure denotation there at 13,350, 384-ish level there. Under, we get our tier 1 daily cheats, just about going to tag the naked VA in our trend guide with combo high volume node until we get into this block here, which we're already taking out this swing anchored VWAP with trend strength reference point on that one. Next up below, you got a monthly and weekly pivot point with supply and demand low, and then under is where we start getting into some other nice pieces. So there we have the look set up with trend guide reversal, 20-day EMA, and you can see over here on the daily there's the April 25th daily anchored VWAP. The swing one is up higher with the monthly pivot, but the daily anchored VWAP, you know, is going to be anchored and comes in right here at this zone. Coming lower, so if we're at, what do we say now, 13,220. So, you know, full ADRs are going to have moved up here a little bit, getting probably closer to the tier 1 daily cheat, but they're still going to be really close to this. So depending upon where and how the ADRs have moved, probably take this up and ignore the high volume node to grab the daily cheats. Under, we end up with the last div on this one with our daily anchor VWAP div, gap fill, tier 2 daily cheat. You can see there's also naked VA in there. And then lastly, underneath, you end up with 2 zones that we added in case we decide to go crazy, which would only be like 400 points. It really is what we're talking about. But you'd end up with zone 50-day EMA, weekly full, gap fill, supply demand high. And the day anchored VWAP is between the zones there. Yeah, it's going to be kind of between these 2 blocks here with the 50 from March 10th. And then lastly below extreme would be tier 2 end of week cheat and VPOC, annual pivot point, and naked VA right in this area. And of course we do have some gap fills right at that spot there. RTY is candidly a mess in my mind. It is pretty nasty. If I'm going to play RTY, probably the only things I care about are the TGR photo, OPEX, you know, this zone here, and then probably, you know, these 2 zones down here, and then above. I don't know that I would, you know, I guess, yeah, I would play this one because there's a lot of pieces of evidence in here with monthly pivots, weekly pivot, photo ADRs, gap fill, combo point of control. Like, there's a lot of stuff here, but then I wouldn't pay any attention until we got up into one of the higher blocks. And candidly, I probably won't even pay attention to RTY unless the algo picks up something on it, which would have to be a pretty big spike for it to pick up something on it today. YM is actually kind of clean, might be an interesting one. Croc just realized I have some VWAP hygiene to clean up because I didn't kill this one here. In any event, added a zone up here at the highs at the 34,551, which gets into some structure. NVPOC is up there, as you can see. Monthly, weekly trend guide reversals are on our tier 3 daily cheat. Under, we have just a touch higher than the highs here. This week is, in fact, that might have been last week. Can't tell. In any event, you get just a touch higher there. You've got that first kind of div level there. You can see there's an NVPOC in there too. It's kind of hidden, but there's an NVPOC right there with the rest of these full ADRs and everything else. I'm skipping this photo and this NVPOC here. Again, they're relatively fresh. We take out trend guide, supply and demand, yesterday's IV high stuff here. Then I'm not going to be interested until we get to something way up here at 34 or, yeah, 34-ish, 34.4, 34.5-ish level. In between, you've got your monthly, weekly pivots, trend strengths. All 3 of these really are inside of my mind. Would really pay more attention to this block here with 50-day EMA, daily trend guide reversal, weekly full. And yeah, you can see there's a daily anchor VWAP right in the middle of that stuff there today. Yeah, I think that's about it there on that one. Let's see if somebody just tagged me on something. Yeah. Okay, so CL, holy, what a move there overnight. It is trying to hold this April 20th it's trying to hold this April 20th, 2020 daily anchor VWAP. The weekly is going to be probably right about in that same area there, but it is desperately trying to hold that. There's also an NVPOC right at that level where it kind of held up and stopped this morning around 69.30-ish level. Yeah, so I mean, you can see I'm kind of ignoring all this bigger upside zone stuff here, and even drag down the daily trend guide stuff so that it just includes quarterly pivot and weekly, because the full ADRs were continuing to move down. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they're down even further into the like trend strength zone at this point. Let's just look at that there. Nope, haven't moved that much yet. They're just on the lower edge right now of this still. So, excuse me, in any event, split up this zone here is way too wide. So pull trend strength and the swing anchor VWAP and the tier 1 daily cheat into one spot, and then moved the photo ADRs, monthly trend guide reversal, supply and demand high into another zone, and just split those up. Under, we've got the weekly trend guide reversal. We had what was previously, I'm pretty sure this was the weekly full ADRs. Probably the weekly full ADRs. Stopped drawing the label because we more than taken them out. So this would have been weekly full ADRs on that one. Would note, like if we do decide to reverse back up and come up here, watch for this, div, potentially go through the weekly trend guide reversal too and div into gap fill, and then potentially fade back off. Under, we just sliced, just cut hard right through this trend guide reversal here. Gap fill, tier 1 daily cheat structure. So still a zone, but we definitely cut right through that. Under, we get into a bigger one with our weekly and monthly trend guide reversals and a naked VA in there. What's interesting here is you actually, that's because it's the gap fill and NVPOC right there. Okay, so you got that. I added this zone here, so tier 3 into week cheat, naked VA, full ADRs, structure. And you can see if I zoom back out here, and this was definitely some area of interest in through here at this 67-ish area, 68, 82. Kind of got a double horizontal ray in there for some reason. We do also have our tier 3 daily cheat there. Candidly, if we start coming down here, we go to attack this NVPOC, this stuff, I'd probably be watching more for the 66 spot than anything else. And I'm ignoring these other pieces here below. That would just be really crazy. We've already traded $2.50. So if we were to go down even more, that'd be a $7-ish move on oil. Is it possible? Sure. Am I going to watch for it? No, I will not try that knife at that point. Gold, man, what a pain in the ass gold was yesterday. Went against my own advice and did try a couple of shorts over here, and just never could break this 2021-6, and so I actually included that here, and it even held it overnight there, as you can see. Looks like it held it even overnight to the damn tick. So it has still been pretty kind of, just flatlining there at that 2025, 2024-ish level. And so I've got this split out. So you've got your trend strength reference point, stuff split out from your weekly trend guide reversal. So this is one zone with trend strength, monthly pivot stuff there. Lower is a separate zone on it. Underneath, we've got, I'm going to move down here, so we've got our 20-day weekly pivot, daily trend guide, and then, can't tell, it looks like, photo ADRs with combo point of control, all at this block here at the 2005, 2002 spot level, and really kind of combined those pieces there. As you can see, this 20-day and then the low daily anchor VWAP, all the rest of that jazz stuff there. Under, we end up with weekly trend guide, naked VA, tier 3 daily cheat on this one. Yesterday we went all the way up and tagged the tier 3 daily cheat and just kind of held up there, didn't do anything. And then last on the list, this would be massive, this would be giving back everything. So we came all the way back down here for weekly full ADRs. Also have a daily anchor VWAP there, and you can see there's also a gap fill just above. Covers off the naked VA, but there's also an NV POC here right at the same spot, the weekly full ADRs. Moving above, so you've got your daily trend guide reversal, weekly trend guide reversal 2. We also have a naked VA in there, combo of the high value area and the weekly full ADRs up here at the 2045-ish block. Above that, photos, monthly, weekly trend guide reversals, gap fill, in the tier 2 daily cheat, and then further above get kind of 2 bigger-ish zones. It is possible if we come down here and look, you know, this was definitely an elevated ADR day. We had an elevated day back here in April a couple of times, so you know it's not unheard of to have back-to-back elevated ADR days. So definitely need to watch for that, especially with it being FOMC day. Kind of expect some bigger violent moves on those particular setups. So that is it. Again, big stuff here this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Hopefully everybody is well prepared. Size down if you're still coming into this stuff and trading. And keep in mind again, folks, that first move more often than not is a fake. So just keep all that in mind. Have a great one, and we will catch y'all later. Thanks. Bye now.